The night Kofi Mensah decided to forget his family, the moon hung low and copper-colored over the roofs of Ahenkro town, as if it, too, was listening. He stood outside his mother's mud house, hands buried in the pockets of his neatly pressed trousers, shoes shining brighter than anything else on that street. From inside came the sound of coughing, his father's dry, stubborn cough, and the soft clatter of his younger sister's washing plates. Kofi did not go in. Instead, he turned and walked away, telling himself a story he had practiced many times. I'm doing this for my future. Kofi was young, handsome, and ambitious, the kind of man whose smile opened doors and whose words made people believe he was destined for more. He had grown up poor, poor in the way that sticks to your skin, poor in the way hunger teaches you patience before it teaches you anger. His father, Kojo Mensah, had once been strong, a cocoa farmer with hands like tree roots, but sickness had bent him season by season until the farm shrank and the debts grew. His mother, Abena, sold roasted corn by the roadside, her voice calling out hope to passing strangers. Kofi had promised himself he would never leave that life forever. So when he moved to the city and found work in a growing construction firm, he polished himself like gold. He learned how to speak softly but confidently, how to dress well even when money was tight, how to sit among rich men and not shrink. And that was where he met her, Ama Boateng. Ama was grace-wrapped in silk. She laughed like she had never known hunger and spoke like the world had always answered her kindly. Her father owned properties across the city. Her mother chaired charity boards and wore perfumes that lingered long after she left a room. Ama fell in love with Kofi's ambition. Kofi fell in love with Ama's world. But that world had rules. When Ama spoke of marriage, her parents asked questions, not harsh ones, but careful ones, the kind that smile while measuring you. Tell us about your family, her father said one evening of dinner, his voice smooth as aged palm wine. Kofi hesitated. In that pause, his old life rose before him, the cracked walls of his childhood home, his father's cough, his mother's tired eyes, his siblings' worn slippers. They are not close, he said finally. My parents passed some years ago. The lie fell softly, like ash. Ama's mother nodded, already moving on. Then you are truly self-made. We admire that. That night, Kofi lay awake in Ama's apartment, staring at a ceiling he did not own, feeling both victorious and hollow. He told himself it was only a story, a small sacrifice. After all, wasn't he doing this to escape poverty forever? The wedding was grand. Drums spoke joy into the air, and dancers spun like living flames. Ama glowed in white and gold, and Kofi stood tall beside her, the man he had always wanted to be. There was laughter, there were blessings, there were photographs that would live longer than truth. But somewhere, far from the music, Abena Mensah heard about the wedding from a neighbor's radio. She sat down slowly, the corn she was roasting forgotten in the fire. My son is married, she said to no one, and I was not invited. Kojo Mensah said nothing. He only coughed and stared at the ground. Marriage did not immediately punish Kofi. In fact, life seemed to reward him. Ama's father helped him rise faster at work. They moved into a beautiful home. Kofi wore suits that fit his new name. He laughed louder, spoke with more authority, yet at night sleep avoided him. Sometimes he dreamed of his mother calling his childhood name, the one Ama did not know. Other times he saw his sisters standing by a river, watching him cross to the other side without looking back. He silenced these dreams with effort and expense. Then came the funeral. Ama's family attended a community burial for an old associate. As tradition demanded, distant relatives and villagers gathered. Kofi went reluctantly, uneasy in places where the past might still know him. As mourners shared memories, an old woman stepped forward, her back bent, but her eyes sharp. "I speak for Kojo Mensah," she said. "My neighbor, my friend." Kofi froze. "He lost his son years ago," she continued. "A boy who went to the city and never returned. Yet Kojo prayed for him every day, believing he still lived." A murmur passed through the crowd. The woman looked directly at Kofi. "That boy looks just like this man here." Silence fell, thick and heavy. Ama turned slowly to her husband. "Kofi, what is she talking about?" The lie that had once fallen like ash now crashed like stone. The truth came out in pieces, names, places, memories only Kofi could confirm. By the time the funeral ended, the secret had no shelter left. Ama did not speak on the drive home. When she finally did, her voice trembled. "You said they were dead." "I was afraid," Kofi whispered. "I didn't want to lose you." She looked at him, tears shining. "You lost yourself instead." The days that followed were colder than any hunger Kofi had known. Ama's parents did not shout. Their disappointment was quieter, sharper. Trust, once broken, did not heal easily. Ama asked for time. Left alone, Kofi returned to Ahenkro town for the first time in years. The house looked smaller. His mother looked older. His father thinner. His sisters taller. When Abena saw him, she did not cry. She simply said, "You came back." Kofi knelt. For the first time, he did not care how it looked. "I was ashamed," he said. "I thought poverty was contagious." Kojo Mensah's voice was weak, but steady. "Poverty is not shame. Forgetting is." Kofi stayed. He repaired the roof, paid debts, listened to stories he had abandoned. For the first time since his wedding, he felt whole, though nothing was fixed yet. Months later, Ama came. She met his parents. She heard the truth from their mouths, not as accusation, but as history. She saw the love that had raised the man she married. "I wish you had trusted me with this," she told Kofi. "So do I," he replied. They chose to rebuild, slowly, carefully, knowing some cracks never disappear, but can still hold light. Kofi learned a final lesson the river had always known. No matter how far you travel, your name remembers where it was first spoken. And the audience who hears his story remembers too. Because ambition without roots may grow fast, but it never grows strong. The river that remembers. Names reminds us that no matter how far ambition carries a person, it cannot erase where they come from. Kofi gained wealth, status, and love by denying his roots, but the truth waited patiently, because truth always does. When it finally surfaced, it cost him trust and peace, teaching him that shame grows louder when hidden, and dignity is found in honesty. The story leaves us with a timeless lesson. Success built on denial is fragile, but success rooted in truth, humility, and family can endure. Our past is not a curse. It is a foundation. And like a river, it never forgets the names first spoken along its banks. Before you go, remember, this story only grows when it's shared. If it touched your heart or taught you a lesson, please like to support the channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you never miss stories that speak to the soul. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for being part of the journey.